Molecules of heredity. We know that the molecules of heredity is the DNA. But what is DNA? But anyways, where does it come from? Well, everything starts with the ancient Greeks. When Aristotle started the theory of inheritance, he realized that the sons and daughters were very alike to their parents or even to their grandparents. So what he said was that the man puts the form and the mother the materials to create their sons or daughters.
Then, many years later, a man called Gregor Mendel created his theory. Through his work on pea plants, he discovered the fundamental laws of inheritance. He deduced that genes come in pairs and are inherited as distinct units, one from each parent. Mendel tracked the segregation of parental genes and their appearance in the offspring as dominant or recessive traits. He recognized the mathematical patterns of inheritance from one generation to the next. Mendel's laws of heredity are usually stated as 1. The law of segregation. 2. Law of independent assortment. 3. The law of dominance. The genetic experiments Mendel did with pea plants took him 8 years, from 1856 to 1863. He published his results in 1865. But what do these 3 laws mean? To answer these, we have to look back carefully at the DNA structure.
DNA is a molecule with a lot of atoms stuck together. In the case of DNA, atoms combine to form the shape of a long spiral ladder. DNA acts as a blueprint for living organisms. But now, how a mere molecule can act as a blueprint to form any organism? Like a bunny, a tree, or even a dog. Let's look at amino acids. Amino acids are small chemicals that are so important that they are usually referred as the building blocks of life. There are 20 different types of amino acids. Each of these have their unique shape. They can attach to each other to form proteins. Amino acids make up proteins. Proteins, with other chemicals, make up living cells. They combine to form tissues. Then these create organs. And organs, when working together, make up living organisms, like you and me. Proteins have to be formed in the perfect shape in order to function. If they aren't perfectly shaped, then things don't work properly. That's the moment when DNA comes in. One of the main DNA functions is to tell the amino acids how to line up themselves to form perfect protein shapes. If their proteins are built at the right moment and place, everything else, from cells to entire creatures, come out just perfect.
In this DNA model, we can see that each step of the ladder is made of 4 different chemicals shown in here, with different colors and letters. The letters are A, which stands for amine, T for thymine, C for cytosine, and G for guanine. Let's look at one half of the DNA helix. We can read the chemical sequence, or what is called genetic code. This single strand of DNA in real life is extremely long. Most of the time, it's coiled like a noodle in the nucleus of the cells. Then, an important step is happening. Amino acids leave the nucleus to go to the cytoplasm. To help interact DNA with the cytoplasm and to convert amino acids into proteins, special chemicals make partial copies of the DNA strand, called RNA, which looks like DNA but is shorter and it's missing one of their sides. Their small shape and the fact of just having one strand allows them to pass into the little pores in the nucleus out of the cytoplasm, which then directs it into another particle called the ribosome. The ribosome is a protein building machine. The ribosome reads 3 letters at a time, and it sucks the amino acids out of their surroundings and sticks them together in a chain according to the RNA code called protein.
Remember Mendel? Well, he saw that there were genes that are a certain part of the DNA. Then, inside the genes, there are alleles, which are alternative forms of the same gene. The genotypes are the genes present in the DNA of an organism, but it's not physically shown. It can be homozygous, two recessive or two dominant, or heterozygous, one recessive and one dominant. Now, the phenotype is the trait that physically shown up in the organism. There is as well a sex-linked inheritance that is what determines if we are women or men.
Thanks to what we just saw, nowadays we can manipulate the DNA to improve our opportunities. So the only thing that is stopping us is just some lack of technology. Genetic manipulation is changing the hereditary characteristics of plants and animals by modifying the genetic material. However, it's good to distinguish between genetic manipulation and making use of the hereditary characteristics. And in conclusion, DNA forms what we are, how we look, and how our children will also look like. And the DNA is something that, of course, we could not ignore. There are many ways that we can use DNA, but to help us make up our minds on what should we be pursuing, we need to have open discussions about all of the issues, and we need to consider the benefits as well as the threats. These are some ways in which we use DNA. Just think about how far should we go with this theme of molecules of heredity.